Hey everybody, you are now tuned into The Blackout, shining a light on Black excellence, activism, and culture. Blacked out by the majority on AfroVibes Radio, the #1 online internet radio station with your girl, Tequila. Today's special guest is motivational speaker, media personality, business consultant, author, entrepreneur, and Air Force vet, the wonderful and handsome Mr. KB Strawder. How are you doing today?
I'm good, T. How you doing?
Good. Thank you so much for coming on to my show
Thank you for
today
having me.
and just allowing me to shine a light on your Black excellence. And then a show like this is great because this is somebody that I went to school with growing up, and I always love it when, I just see people in the Black community that I know that's doing good for themselves and they just trying to inspire other people, which is what you do every single day. So before we hop straight into it, just please introduce yourself and give us a little background into who KB Strawder is.
All right. Well, I appreciate you having me once again. It's always good to connect with you. See you everywhere all the time. So we finally got a chance to get this done. But I am KB Strawder Jr. I am just a man that found his purpose, and I've turned it into businesses. I've turned it into opportunity to help other people find their purpose. And it's taken me literally everywhere through every genre of everything in life you can possibly imagine. And it's been a crazy, wonderful ride, and I'm enjoying everything about it. The ups, the downs, the highs, the lows, all that good stuff. But it's just somebody who found their purpose, and I realized that my purpose is to help you find yours and live out your best life.
Now, some people would say, how do these motivational speakers decide they want to speak about purpose? What makes you the individual that can do that can encourage and inspire everybody? What about your particular experiences made you realize that your story need to be shared and you need to be transparent with the world?
Well, I was going through a transitional period where I was frustrated with the lack of stability in my life, meaning I didn't know what I wanted to do on this earth. I didn't know, outside of the normalcy of getting a 9 to 5 and working until you die and, 401k and the boring attitude of life that this world has put on us to say that you're successful. And I knew it had to be something greater than myself. So I was transitioning out of the military when I saw an opportunity to go hear a speaker by the name of Dr. Miles Monroe. And he talked about time, and he talked about change, and he talked about purpose. And it was my first time ever hearing him. And I was like, man, this guy is incredible. Like, he's speaking to me. He's saying things that I'm thinking about and I've been fighting and frustrated with for years now. So I looked him up and I read a lot of his books and things. And it's just almost as if something triggered inside of me to say, okay, this is what you should be doing because this is how you feel. You've learned all these life lessons. You need to share these things with people because it can help people overcome tragedies and overcome hurt and pain, and it helped them prosper and be successful. And I was like, okay, great. So as I started transitioning into being a speaker, I got an opportunity to go speak at a school one time and just asking questions, and I didn't really know how to speak. I was just like, hey, we'll do a quick Q&A, and then from there I'll start posting these little quotes that I would learn in light on social media. And then after that, it just kind of spread like wildfire. People was like, hey, can you come talk here? Can you come do this? Can you come do that? I'm looking like, what? I remember I tweeted one time, I said, what am I, a motivational speaker now? Like, I'm people asking me to do these things. And I got a call from a good friend of mine that worked at PV. Shout out to PV. That's the first collegiate school I ever spoke at. They had a great band banquet. I think that's what it was. And from there, I just realized that this is my gift. It's my responsibility to do this. So I've crafted it. I've honed in on it. I've sharpened it. I've studied. I've researched. I've been through all the ups and downs to go through it. And so I feel like I'm fine-tuned enough to be able to go out and do this, not just for a living, but for my purpose.
Absolutely. And so, that's so good to hear because I know as a young Black man coming out of Houston, being able to have something positive to share with your peers in the world is something that you typically don't see every day, which is why we brought you here to, just to highlight your excellence. But as far as being a speaker, what are some topics that you typically touch on that you feel like most people need to hear and need to be advised on?
I talk on a lot of different topics because I realize that purpose is not just tied to one thing. Purpose is so multifunctional, meaning it's everything you can think of. Everything we do in life is tied to purpose, whether it be love, sex, relationships, marriage, finances, religion, careers, anything like that. It's all tied into purpose. Everything we do has a purpose. Everything that happens to us happens for a reason, happens for a purpose. And anything that we're trying to accomplish in life is all a part of our purpose. So I saw that and I was like, okay, I can't just talk about one particular thing. And a very, very wise man told me that that nothing that you ever do in life is only going to be tied to one thing. Everything is multi-purpose. Like even the most simplest thing in life, like water. Water is H2O. Water is just one of the most simplest compounds or formulas that we have on this earth. But even still, it's not just one thing that makes it up. It's H2O. Without the oxygen in it, it wouldn't be water. And that's the simplest thing that we have on this earth. So when I understood that concept, and I realized that more people are going to have things tied to themselves outside of just working and having a family and raising kids and going through the blah, blah, blah and the blah, blah, blah. It's a whole lot of different things that come about. So purpose is one, religion is another. As a licensed and ordained minister, I do that. I talk about that. I preach those things. I teach those things. And outside of business, I've gotten more into that when I started my own foundations, and then I created some other business outside of that. And I was like, okay, these are things people need to hear. And I don't want to just talk about basic, boring things. I actually want you to talk about things that people have questions about and they deal with on a daily basis, and not just a one thing, and this is the only thing I deal with, because everything's going to hit you some point in your life. You're going to have to deal with it. So why not have the topics available so where you can go back and listen or go back and hear or even reach out and understand how to get through those things to be successful in life.
Absolutely. And I'm glad that you mentioned your foundations. You have the Live Better Foundation. Tell us about that. And I also know you have the Live Better Incorporated, correct? Mm-hmm. Tell us about both of those organizations.
So the first thing I started was Live Better Inc., Live Better Incorporated. My mentor at the time was very heavy into business, and he was telling me I need to acquire as much businesses and things that I could do, put under my name, get all these ideas out there, and that way I can operate in them fully. And so the Live Better Incorporation is really just on a more of a global level. It's something that anybody anywhere can actually cooperate with me as far as serving things. If you ever think about it, I try to make it like the Walmart of hope, meaning you go to Walmart, you can get anything. You can get your tires, you can get food, you can get clothes, you can get your taxes done. They do Hewitt and be right there in the middle of the floor waiting to do your taxes. You can get anything from Walmart. And so I've set up the incorporation to where anything that anybody needs help with and stuff like that, we partner with so many other different type of businesses and entities to where we can get you the help you need. So that's my incorporation. The foundation is more or less like a local homegrown thing. That's more or less for reaching out for the kids. We do backpack drives. We do recently I kind of stopped doing the backpack and started focusing more on our teachers, because our teachers are spending way too much money out of pocket just to survive for the school year, for just a semester and for the school year. So we did this thing called the $550 campaign for the teachers, where people donate $5 and we help over 50 teachers with school supplies because they're spending, I think, anywhere between $300 to $900 a semester just to have the school supplies. And my thing, it wasn't making sense. How are we having backpack supply drives for kids all over the city, but then teachers still spending money out of pocket to help the same kids in their classrooms? Something wasn't adding up. And so we got a lot of emails, people asking, hey, are you doing anything for teachers? So we do that. All the community giveaways, sponsorships, volunteerism that we do. So that's the Live Better Foundation. It's really just created to help people live better. So we hit the foundation together that way. I have a young men's mentorship program called Yes Sir. That is designed to help young boys become men, in a sense that we teach them everything in every aspect about what it is to be a man, how to live like a man, talk like a man, dress like a man, walk like a man, act like a man, and just all of those components. Everything from ironing your clothes to washing your clothes to personal hygiene to resume building to all of that. We do that, and it's called Yes Sir, Young Men's Mentorship Program. And then the last thing that I've been working on is the Entrepreneurship Summit. These are for the entrepreneurs that's in Houston that need help to get started, to find out, how can I do this? I have a vision, I have a goal, I have a dream, but I don't have any help. So how can we put this together? So the summit is going to be free, putting that together, teaming up with the city of Houston and some other local organizations to put that together. So that's another thing as well. It's just giving back, just helping people live their best life and live better. Not good, not great, not perfect, but just better.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love that the Yes Sir mentorship program, because, we have a lot of young brothers out here that might not have their fathers in their lives, and they want someone to look up to or someone to teach them and show them, just how to be a man. And I know that's like the stigma that I hear a lot is, women can't teach a, boy how to be a man. Right. He needs some type of father figure in his life or a male role model. And just even if you don't have children, having a program like that, even if you're reaching multiple people at one time, you're making a difference. You're showing them that even even as one person, you're capable of being an entrepreneur. You're capable of traveling the world and seeing different countries. You're capable of learning how to dress and how to speak, and just approach people.
Absolutely.
Simple, basic tools that a lot of people, young brothers, don't have in their communities. And one of the things you mentioned is you're from San Diego. How is that environment there? Because I know you have brought up the gang culture and all those different type of things that probably really affect the young black men in the area.
It's not as uncommon, but it is pretty much common. It's a bad epidemic that's spread pretty much anywhere and everywhere you look for it. People are either trying to start gangs, be in gangs, want to be in gangs, things like that. And it's terrible because it's like we're locking out our potential and thinking that this is what I have to settle for. And you don't. And it's good to show these young black men that there are so many endless possibilities to be incredible, to be great, to be successful, or even just to be a positive influence in your community. That way other young guys coming up underneath you and on your block and in your hood can see that I don't have to go down this route. It's not about trying to make it out of the hood, because I think that's the poorest part you can actually do, because most people make it out the hood and they go live somewhere else, but they don't come back. You want to buy the hood. You want to build the hood. You want to revamp it to where it doesn't have to be a bad stigma of being the hood. It can still be your neighborhood. It can still be where you're from. It can still be those kind of things. But I think we need to get back into giving more of our young black men and black brothers a chance just to come out, see they can be incredible, and then go back and deposit something into it. We're taking everything out of it, but we're not leaving anything behind that can grow and nourish and be better than what it was. Because there's a lot of hoods and neighborhoods that's in Houston that was once thriving and flourishing areas, and now they just got bad stigmas on them. And it's like, oh, stay away from this side of town, or stay away from Greens Point, aka Guns Point. It's like Greens Point didn't used to be like that, but something happened to where people moved out, a certain type of people moved in, and then nothing ever grew and nothing ever got better in that area. So just in having that mentorship program and seeing the difference between from California to Houston, and then seeing other neighborhoods and being in Atlanta and New York and Florida and everything in between, it's the same common problem pretty much everywhere without a typical answer. So I'm thinking and I'm hoping and I'm praying that this actually will help kind of raise up that generation to be better than what they left it.
How has your audience received you when you go out here and you go on these speaking engagements? What are some of the things that they tell you after they get a chance to meet you?
Let's be real. Let's keep it all the way real, because sometimes it depends on the audience. It depends on what type of audience. If we're talking about racial mixture, we're talking about just Caucasians, or we're talking about black people, we're talking about Hispanics. It depends on what the racial diversity is in the room or in the area. But for the most part, I know it's more on me to deliver a message that's a sound mind across any genre, any race. How that person receives it is completely up to them, but it's my responsibility to just give it to you to the best nature possible. As far as whatever I can say, whatever I can help you think, whatever I can change in your mindset to help you be a better person, that's fine. And I want to take the racial out of it, but even still, I go in some areas and I know they're looking at me like, this black dude, what he doing here? Why is he here? What does he want? What is he trying to say? What is he trying to change? And some people will cancel you before you even get there. Like, as soon as you get introduced on stage, they'll be like, a black man think he trying to do something positive. Let me just be quiet, let him get through his little 10, 15 minutes and he'll be gone out the way. But then some people actually really do warm receptive. You'll be surprised. A lot of people are actually more open to a young black man doing something positive than they are negative. And especially black women pretty much come and tell me, they encourage me more than the black men, surprisingly. They'll come tell you, keep doing a good job, baby. I love what you said. You're on the right track. I like your mindset, things like that. So shout out to our black women out there. They hold me down pretty much anywhere I go. Everybody else just wait to see what I'm going to say before they judge me. But it's all good. It's all good in the hood.
Yeah, it's gonna be like that. But I'm really glad that your community, they even take the time to go out and come see you and hear what you have to say, because obviously you are living in your purpose and you are changing people's lives. Otherwise, God wouldn't have blessed you with so many opportunities and so much ability to be an entrepreneur. Right. Especially coming out the Air Force, I know a lot of young brothers, when they don't know what they want to do, the first thing they do is enlist into the military. And I know for myself, having sons, I don't want that to be his first option. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Nor do I want him to apply for financial aid, because that's just another way to get into the military.
Right.
I want him to solidify his business at an early age, and I want to make sure I'm making the right investments so he can go be whatever it is that he wants to be. Just for those out there that may feel like they're not sure how they're going to find out their purpose and they're looking into the military, what advice can you give a young brother out there?
You know, the military was an accident for me. It wasn't planned. It was actually an accident. I was already looking into. I was already in college pursuing my criminal justice career, but I found that it was a stepping stone because I could get into what I wanted to do law enforcement wise a whole lot faster. So instead of having to go to the police academy and do all the training and things like that, I still went to the military. But on top of that, college tuition being free, you get a whole lot more experience. In my account, my personal opinion, you get a whole lot more experience. You get a lot of type secret clearances and things like that that'll help you whenever you do come out. Whether you do 4 years, 8 years, 10 years, make it a career out of it, whatever you want to do. It was just a stepping stone. It wasn't nothing I intended to do wholeheartedly. My mother was the one that introduced me to a recruiter, and we talked, and I was like, you know what, this would be great. This would be a whole lot of way to kind of bypass the system a little bit and still get what I'm looking for. And then on top of that, the education's free, and on top of that, you have all these benefits health-wise and things like that. Now I get to walk around with a veteran's hat on and sit at the parade in the lawn chair and wave American flag and everybody do it. So, now it's cool. And they look at me like, you ain't no veteran. You too young to be a veteran. Like, I look young. Don't get fooled out here. I put my uniform still fits, but I would say, advice-wise, make the right decision as far as what you're trying to do futuristically. Don't look at the moment for now. Look at later. Look at how you want to come out of this. If you want to go into it, that's fine. Research and develop what exactly it is that you want. That was not my phone, by the way.
I'm sorry, that was mine, y'all. I have my alarm.
I don't even have no ringtone. But just look at what you want to do holistically outside of just the military. Don't go into it thinking, okay, I'm going to ride this for the next some years, because you might get in it and not like it. You might get in and change your mind, or God might change your purpose or something like that. So use it for what you need to use it for, and then get out of it and go be great at what you really want to do.
Absolutely. And I'm glad that you did mention that, because I have met people who, they did their 4 years, got on their feet, and then they went on and chased their dreams. So, like you said, it just depends on what avenue you choose. But make sure, especially with the administration that we're under today, that you're making wise decisions with your life. That's your life. You don't know, do you really want to go to war for somebody that's not really thinking about your community? You know what I'm saying? I don't think you want to do that. But, anywho, we have to go to a quick commercial break. When we come back, I want to talk about the entire experience with your dad going viral, so you can share the story for the 100th time, and also talk about you being the author of your book coming out in the fall of 2019, Purpose Only. So we got to go to a quick break, but when we return, we will continue our show. Until then, you guys are still tuned in to The Blackout, shining a light on Black excellence, activism, and culture on AfroVibes Radio with your girl, Tequila. Hey guys, you are now tuned back into The Blackout, shining a light on Black excellence, activism, and culture. Blacked out by the majority on AfroVibes Radio, the #1 online internet radio station, with your girl, Tequila. And we are still in the studio with the lovely Mr. KB Strawder. So earlier you got to hear about his entrepreneurship, him being transparent about his story and going out and becoming a motivational speaker and just inspiring and encouraging so many young men and women out here. But now we want to get into some more positive and great things, such as his lovely book he has coming out in the fall of 2019 entitled Purpose Only. Now, when we talked before we went on the air, you said you had like 4 books, right? So is these 4 books upcoming that you have? Okay, so it's upcoming, because we all know it takes time. When you write a book, it may be years, or a film, it may be or a script, it may be years before it gets to where you want it to be. But tell us why you decided to entitle the book Purpose Only, and what are some of the things that your readers can gain from the book?
So Purpose Only actually changed the title. It used to be The Pursuit of Purpose. That was the name of it, The Pursuit of Purpose, almost like The Pursuit of Happiness. It was a play on that. I even titled my old radio show The Pursuit of Purpose like that, because I realized that purpose was such a journey, and it's nothing that is going to just fall in your lap. You literally have to go get it. You have to go chase after it, and not just to go get it, but how to stick and stay with it. So I changed the name to Purpose Only, because I realized there's a lot of things that we tie down into our lives that takes us away from our purpose. When we get serious about purpose, and we get serious about the things that we're called to do, or that we have a purpose in doing, you'll realize that you'll start eliminating all of the negative things out of your life. And the only thing you want to deal with is anything that's attached to your purpose, and purpose only. So I'm on a big media thing right now about purpose only, the hashtag purpose only, all that kind of stuff, because I want to drive attention to how we need to take out of the negative norms of life stigmas, the issues that take us away from our focus. It's like being distracted by things that don't have anything to do with us, and it takes us away from our drive and from our purpose. We can find out what our purpose is, get stuck on it, and then something to happen where it distracts us, and then we have to find our way back to it. And that's just nothing but, number one, wasting your time, which you do not have enough of, and number two, being rerouted sometimes outside of your own personal circumstances is always a headache. So it's one thing for a purpose to take you up and down and left and right and things like that, but being distracted by outside things that have nothing to do with your purpose is a whole different type of ball game. So my book, it talks about purpose only. It's a slight autobiography about how I got into my purpose, but more or less it's life lessons that I learned about purpose. That's it. It's just all of the life lessons, things that I continue to, and I wrote it a few years ago, but things kept happening to me. So I kept writing more, and I kept putting more, and then stuff kept. I was like, "Oh, this is good. I got to put this in here. Oh, that's really good. They really need to know about that." So then I had to find a stopping point and say, "Okay, done." I wrote so much that I can actually break it into two parts, and I think that's probably what I'm going to do anyway. So purpose only is about how to find your purpose, how to stick with your purpose, and how to stay with your purpose through all of life's craziness that happens. And it's the only thing that we're really here for is to live out our purpose.
Yeah, and I think a lot of times people, they're challenged with their mental health when they feel like they don't know what their purpose is. They don't know what they're passionate about. And a lot of times your purpose is right in front of your eyes. You just don't, because we look at it as like oh, that's just something I know how to do. Oh, that's just something, that's an everyday type of situation. But no, that's a gift. Like, I truly believe some people are gifted to be a teacher. You're supposed to teach. Some people are gifted to be a doctor. You're supposed to heal. Some people are gifted to speak. You're supposed to inspire.
Right.
But if you just look at it, like, I think that was my issue before when I was trying to figure out, okay, what is it I'm going to do in journalism? I know I'm good at speaking. I know I'm good at writing, but what do I care about the most? Like, with doing the radio, I'm going to be honest with y'all, I ain't never even thought about doing it. I didn't. Like, I just thought I was going to be on the news. That was my journey. And when the opportunity came, I was like, dang, I'm actually really good at this. And I realized my purpose was to speak through people through the radio and give them the resources that they typically wouldn't see through white media.
Right.
And that's some things you have to go on a journey. You have to go through some situations. And unfortunately, I lost a classmate and a friend, Sandra Bland, in the process. And that's what led me to where I'm at with the Blackout today. So I'm glad that you mentioned that. But do you feel like that's an issue for some people, that they just can't seem to identify what it is that makes them great and what they're passionate about?
Absolutely. They're too bogged down with their issues. Some people have so many problems in life that it distracts from their purpose. They feel like, okay, let me solve this issue, then I can get back to this, or let me solve this and I can do this, and let me have this happen and I can get back there. But the number one thing that's happening with people is they're not either aware of what their purpose is, or they know what it is and they're not acting or living in it, and so they're always frustrated by having to deal with outside circumstances to get back to it. Because see, what triggered your purpose was the fact there was a lack of awareness for us. It's like, okay, that makes sense to me. Why do we not know this? We need to get this information out here. People need to know these things. And you're right. We do need to know these things because there's a lot of stuff that the Caucasians are not giving us. The SALT people are not really telling us, and the media that we get. And so it's like, okay, who's going to be responsible for helping us know the truth, or who's going to give us the real information that we need to know that's not sugar-coated, that's not being hidden anywhere else? So most people are so focused on what the problem of what the media is not saying. You focus on the solution, so you can go ahead and give us the solution, the answer to what the media needs to be saying, what they should be saying. So I have a quote. It's like, it says, never let your problems outweigh your purpose, because your purpose will always be bigger than your problems, no matter what it is. I'm always making sure that whatever my purpose entails me to, I don't let my problems get bigger than that, because I know my purpose is bigger than any issue that you can have out there and anything you can solve. My second book that I'm going to put out there is called Dreams of Greatness. And when my grandfather died, he left me a letter and it said, "Don't let anybody stop you from your dreams of greatness." I took that title out and I put it in use. And it's going to be an entrepreneurship type book. It's going to be the inspirational book that helped you get started in entrepreneurism and also the business starting and things like that. But it's almost to kind of help you push you in the right direction, give you step-by-step guide into it. Another thing I've learned about purpose is that most people don't know where to start. So yeah, purpose only will give you a synopsis of what really happens when you find your purpose. But dreams of greatness will help you go ahead and get your foot started. Go ahead and get your 1-2 steps up in there, so you can know, all right, these are what I really need to buckle down and do. How I can start this business, how I can get this LLC, this DBA, this incorporation, start this foundation, this nonprofit, 501c3, whatever you want to do. That's what that book is going to be entitled for, and I think that that'll help people push towards their purpose a whole lot more.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love that because with the DBA situation, like I told you, I had just recently got mine.
Mm-hmm.
Some people don't even know it just costs $16 to go down to the county clerk and,
16.
and claim your name.
Less
but
than gas.
People genuinely don't know that. And it's a lot of people trying to sell information. And being able to have a book that's telling you everything that you need to know, it could be $9.99. That's cool. But imagine you having to pay $100, $200, $300, $400 for somebody to tell you how to have ownership.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it's unfortunate. That's why we're so behind in the black community when it comes to generational wealth, because we ain't had a whole lot of ownership, or we did and we sold that. Now look where we at today.
And nobody's giving us the blueprint.
Yeah, nobody's giving us a blueprint. So you're creating that. So for those that are interested in actually getting purpose only in any other future books, where can they purchase these items?
So my newly released website, when actually everything comes out, kbstrawderjr.com. KB Strawder, straw like you drink out of, D-E-R, junior.com. There will be a link when the book actually comes out to where you can go get it. And it's going to be on everything. We're going to put it on Amazon. We're going to go wherever books are sold online. And then I'm going to print some as well. I'm going to get a lot of a good handful printed. That way when I go on my speaking engagements and things like that, I'll have some on hand. You don't have to worry about waiting for them. My book will not be $9.99 because there's a lot of great information. It might be a little, maybe $2 or $3 more more than that. But it ain't going to cost you, $50 and $60, nothing like that. Because I realize that most people, they don't really want to spend information, too much money on information like that. I know they just want to get it and have it. I'd rather you have the information and really not feel like you got to break the bank just to get it. But at the same time, we got to support our own, because it cost me more to make it than it did for you to buy it. So I promise you, this is something you definitely want to get. But kbstrawderjr.com, and then of course any of my social media pages at @real_KB is going to have all the links tagged to it. So, and I can't wait to get it. Hopefully when it come out, I come back and bring it to you, and I'll sign one for you, and we can talk about that, because it's got some stuff in there.
You always welcome back, and we can dissect the book and talk about all the aspects.
What the young people say? It got some tea. It got some
See, I'm tired of you talking like you just this old man
got some tea.
that don't know how to work electronics and social media. Y'all, he be talking like he don't know.
I'm learning.
But anywho,
got some type 1, type 2, got some tea in there.
To go ahead and end our show in a minute, I want to talk about you going viral on the internet, or better yet, your father going viral on the internet, which I told him I was not surprised, because he's very effective. He's always out here hosting. He's always out here posting something. So when he put out this special moment, two reasons. Let me tell you why I loved it.
Okay.
Number one, the fact that it showed a special moment between a black man and his father.
Yeah.
I feel like we don't get to see that every day, and people had the opportunity, and that's why it touched a lot of people's hearts. Mm-hmm. Two, Janet Jackson, people around this world love her, and we always want to see how people are in their everyday life, how the humility plays out. Mm-hmm. And the fact that she's, like you said, one of them people, she was dressed comfortable in her sweats, and she was just chilling behind him, and she hugged him, and it just showed how we still embrace each other no matter what level we are in the black community. So that's the two things that really has stood out to me. So tell us about the story of how this all happened, because you said you had did this with your mother, and now you ended up doing it with your father, and I don't know what happened. Like I said, maybe it was the Janet Jackson thing, but it spread like wildfire. I seen it on the Shade Room, so I knew this man was going to be famous.
So this is what happened very quickly. So me and my little brother decided that we were going to take my mom to New York for the first time and surprise her with a trip for Mother's Day last year. So this year we decided to do something for my dad. So this unbeknownst that he was going to react the way he was. My brother was for FaceTime in Tennessee, and it's Father's Day, so I'm at my dad's house, and I'm giving him his gift, and in it has a flyer in the envelope that says, "You're going to see Janet Jackson Metamorphosis concert." And he barely opened the thing before he saw "You're going to see Janet," and just flipped out. So that reaction just I thought it was just genuine, thought it was pure. I was like, okay, that's hilarious. Let me go ahead and just put that on my social media. Like I normally post funny stuff anyway. So, but it's the fact that I've never seen my dad run and jump and scream like that in years. So I thought that was just hilarious. So I posted it, and of course that Father's Day video goes a little viral, but it on Twitter. But it was cool. Like it wasn't a big deal. until I got an inbox from this guy named Joey Harris. He's the senior vice president of Janet Jackson's team. He said, "Hey man, saw the video. Janet loved it. Let's meet after the show. Let your dad meet Janet. Don't tell him." And I'm thinking like, what? This not real. So I'm thinking like, no, because he was asking questions like, when is the concert? Where y'all gonna be sitting? I'm like, I'm not telling y'all. You might try to, you scam. I don't know who you are. And so I clicked on this page and I was like, oh, he's legit. This is a real guy. So kept the secret. Told my brother. Of course, told my mama. But I told her towards the closer to the end because she can't hold hot water in a cold pot. So I was like, I want you to tell my daddy. So I told my brother. I said, man, this is what happened. I said, we can't believe this. He's like, Daddy's gonna flip. I'm like, yeah. So anyway, fast forward all the way to Vegas. We get there August 10th, Saturday. Day of the show, we getting dressed, getting pumped, and my dad's just excited to go see Janet, going to the concert. He has no idea that this is actually about to take place. And me and my brother are just on pins and needles waiting to hear from her team because we're there. We've been in contact a little bit, but after the show, we wanted to make sure we followed all the instructions correctly. So we ended up, after the show, my dad wanted to go get the pictures that you take before the concert starts. He wanted to go stand in line and get his pictures. Well, Joey and the Janet's team was trying to text me and say, hey, come meet us on this side of the venue. We was like, okay, let me get my dad. My dad's like, we gotta get the pictures. I'm like, Daddy, don't forget about them pictures and come over here. But we still didn't want to tell him. So we finally got him over to the other side and, they meet him. They said, hey, we want to interview about the video that went viral. He was like, oh, okay, great. And I was hoping that he didn't pick up on nothing because we get to this elevator, we go in the backstage and a service elevator takes you all the way up to where the lounges and everything is. And we're in this VIP room with all these other celebrities. And my dad is just freaking out because he's trying to be cool, but he's like, we're not supposed to be here. I was supposed to be up here. I'm like, Daddy, relax, just chill, like, be cool, just drink some water, you'll be all right. So we're sitting there, and then the videographer comes and he says, hey, we're going to ask you some questions. We'll start with Keith, then we'll start with Chris, and then we'll start with your dad. I was like, all right, cool. Answer the questions, and as my brother is talking, Janet slowly but surely walks up behind my dad, and he's standing there. And so then the videographer asks my dad, questions about the show, how did he like it, highlight of his moment. And it's just like, it was like, I don't know, nostalgia to see my dad just gush about the concert because he was so focused on the camera, trying to answer the questions, make sure he didn't say anything wrong, that he was oblivious to anything going on behind him. And I'm seeing Janet, she smells incredible, she's smiling at me, I smiled at her, and I turned back around and just kind of watching. And then the video that you see that's on social media is I kind of go off to the side and pull my phone out and start kind of recording because I know any moment Janet is about to do something, I don't know what. And so when she grabs him from behind and she hugs him and she says something like, thank you, that was so sweet in his ear or whatever, my dad couldn't believe it. He kind of just froze there for a second. And then next thing you know, she spoke again and he makes this funny face real quick, like, oh my God, this is her. And, it's just funny right there. And then I was so proud of him. He hugged her for a minute, and he just, it's so good to see you. And then he kind of slid back in this, like, I'm finna spit game type pose and just kind of talk to her for a little bit. And of course, the camera kind of goes off then, but I have more video for him just having a moment with Janet. And she was just so sweet and so caring. And she spoke to me and hugged me. She smelled like, I don't know, heaven's cinnamon vanilla latte. I don't know what. She smelled like clouds. I don't know. She smelled incredible. Pure magic is what I've been saying. And then, spoke to my brother, and then we all kind of talked for a minute, and they kind of talked for a little bit longer. And then we went back out. But just that whole moment of seeing my dad in pure shock and speechlessness was perfect. Like, it's like everything that came down to that 1 second of that happening was worth the whole entire trip. And like you said, most people have been commenting saying that's wonderful that black men or black boys are there for their father.
Absolutely. And I'm just so glad that you shared that moment with the entire world. I'm sure you weren't expecting it to get as big and get as much attention as it did, but it just comes to show that we do still appreciate real, authentic moments. So we're so grateful for that. But we at the end of our show. Before we got out of here, give them your website and your social media one more time so they can learn more about you.
All right. So my new website, kbstrawderjr.com. I'm sure all the links will be on the show as well, but kbstrawderjr.com. Connect with me. You can book me there. You can anything you want to know. All the information is there. Just connect. And then all my social media, anywhere. You can really Google me if you believe it or not, at real_KB. You Google me, me, you're going to see me and Janet all over the world. But just Google @real_KB on all of my social media. I would say slide in my DMs, but they are packed from all this craziness. So just email me, please. Just email me. That way I can, respond accordingly for business and booking purposes. Other than that, I thank you so much for letting me be here, T. I appreciate
of course.
you.
You always welcome back. Thank you so much. And thank you guys for still tuning into The Blackout, shining a light on Black excellence, activism, and culture with your girl Tequila on AfroVibes Radio. Make sure to check out our Facebook and Instagram pages at The Blackout AVR. And to stay up to date on our previous discussions and future events, please visit AfroVibes Facebook and Instagram at AfroVibes Radio, Twitter at AfroVibes Radio with an S, and lastly, listen to us online at www.afrovibesradio.com or simply download the AfroVibes Radio app on the Apple or Google Play Store.